Ahsoka gets therapized. Folks, how do you reconcile the good and the bad that you get from your parents and from your mentors and the good and the bad that you find within yourself? Mended Light. Oh, folks, we're back doing Star Wars, and I could not be more excited. So this series, Ahsoka, is about Anakin Skywalker's Padawan learner during the Clone Wars. A little bit of a spoiler alert, she leaves the Jedi Order before the Clone Wars ends. She fights for the rebellion, and now after the events of Return of the Jedi, she finds herself thinking about lessons she learned from her master. What I want to talk about today is the simple fact that your parents could love you and also hurt you emotionally or otherwise. That mentors could want what's best for you and push you too far. And the fact that all of us have light and dark within us. How do we reconcile all of this to live in peace and be the best versions of ourselves? And how do we move past the trauma of our upbringing? First scene, an older Ahsoka is training using holograms made for her decades before by her master. Let's take a look.
In this war, you will face more than just droids. General Grievous, Asajj Ventress, even Count Dooku. You could face any one of them on the battlefield. As your master, it's my responsibility to prepare you. So practice these forms often. Or at least more than I do. If we get separated or something happens, you need to be able to make it on your own. Don't be afraid. Just remember what I taught you and trust your instincts. I know you can do this, Ahsoka.
He made 20 or more of these recordings. This was his last one.
Very thoughtful. I never realized.
He was a good master.
First of all, hats off to, in this series and in the Obi-Wan series, the return of Hayden Christensen, much maligned in the Star Wars prequels for his performances. He just needed better scripts and direction. And he does wonderful work here in these series. So Ahsoka is remembering the positive. I mean, by now the galaxy knows Anakin became Vader, and Vader killed a lot of people and did a lot of dark, awful things. Huyang, this droid that's with her, helped build lightsabers and train Jedi younglings way back when, and he knew Anakin as a reckless and tough general. What he didn't realize was the warmth that Anakin possessed. I think Huyang probably thinks about Anakin what a lot of people think. They think of Vader. And so it's a little paradigm shift going on for this droid when he says, very thoughtful. I never realized. And Ahsoka stands up for Anakin, not that he's under attack, more speaks for him and says he was a good master. If you follow these series, Clone Wars, Rebels, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, these series that Dave Filoni in particular had a huge hand in crafting, it explores a lot about the complex nature of human beings. I was just talking about this with a friend today, that in history and in life, no one is all good, no one is all bad. We may aspire to greatness and goodness and fall short. We may have values that we fail to keep. As we succumb to our darker natures, our tempers, our passions, right, our fears. And Ahsoka has been wrestling ever since Star Wars Rebels when she discovers that Anakin is Vader. She's been wrestling because she thought her master was killed. She's been wrestling with the knowledge of what he became and what he did. And she still loves him. Maybe you've got a parent or parents who you see the good in them and maybe you defended them for a long time. And at a certain point, it's like, well, but other actions are indefensible or hurt me, right? Maybe you have a mentor like that. Maybe that's you. Maybe you have a hard time looking in the mirror because of some of the things you've done. We're going to look at Ahsoka's journey towards peace on this matter. So she gets knocked off a cliff and falls into this kind of space between galaxies where she encounters the spirit of her old master. And this is very much not a hallucination. This is Anakin's Force ghost, and this is what he's doing now. As the chosen one, he's keeping the Force in balance. Standing up, she thinks she's dead. There's Anakin's voice.
Master?
I didn't expect to see you so soon, he says.
Anakin.
Some decent de-aging. Doesn't look too fake. Also, he kept really good care of himself, so he still looks pretty young.
Anakin. You look the same.
You look old.
Well, that happens. Actually, what happened?
You lost a fight.
I don't remember.
Trust me. You lost.
Balin's skull.
So you do remember. That's good.
Why?
It means you still have a chance.
Chance.
To live.
Tell me what's going on.
I'm here to finish your training.
It's a little late for that.
One is never too old to learn, Snips.
One is never too old to learn. It's a great little line.
All right. What's the lesson, Master?
Live. Or die.
I won't fight you.
I've heard that before.
So on the surface, it seems like he's challenging her to decide whether she's going to go back to the world of the living and keep fighting, or whether she's going to die by fighting him and engaging in a duel. But what he's really addressing is Ahsoka hasn't been alive, really, for years. She took on a Padawan herself, and afraid that her
Looks like
Padawan...
you don't have much left to offer.
I haven't taught you everything yet.
The real issue is that Ahsoka started young and idealistic and sure about her position. I'm on the side of the good guys. Until she saw in the war the Jedi doing enough questionable things that it caused her to be uncertain about what they were doing. We're supposed to be keepers of the peace, not soldiers. And yet she saw warfare. And she saw Jedi making tough calls that went against their code. And then, a little bit of a spoiler alert, they betray her, right? And they don't stand by her. Anakin does, and she walks away. Then she discovers that her former master, this pillar of virtue, has become the murderous Darth Vader. And she takes on a Padawan of her own a little bit later, a Padawan learner who she is afraid is going to go dark. But all of these losses, all of these paradigm shifts, all of these challenges to her worldview leave Ahsoka not sure about who she is, about what her focus is, or what her purpose is. Because the structures and the people she put faith in were flawed. And in some ways, she's just been kind of ghosting through life. And Anakin is challenging her to come back. To come back to life, or kind of Shawshank Redemption. Get busy living or get busy dying. Like, if you're going to give up, then give up. But if you're not, then actually, let's get going. And he's going to send her back to the Clone Wars, at least in a memory, to help drive this point home.
Come on! Forward!
Master!
Hurry up, Snip!
This is the Clone Wars!
kidding?
This is one of our first missions. Why are we here?
You tell me.
Master! Wait!
They do a really good job of recreating the look of the animated series and the wardrobe and everything here. Super cool.
Gotta keep up.
What about my training?
This is your training.
So it's still Force Ghost Anakin, but he's playing a role, recreating a memory for her. And she's gonna learn a hard lesson about
Come on, Snips.
leadership and responsibility here.
The battle's not over yet. There are more separatist droids approaching. Is there a problem?
We lost so many.
There's always a price to be paid.
It was my fault.
That doesn't mean we don't make mistakes.
But our mistakes cost lives. That doesn't bother you?
Of course it does.
This isn't what I trained for.
Look, when Obi-Wan taught me, we were keepers of the peace. But now, to win this war, I have to teach you to be a soldier.
Is that all I'll have to teach my own Padawan one day?
You know, teaching's not all it's cracked up to be.
Really? What makes you say that?
I'm joking.
You're joking. How can you joke at a time like this?
What would you prefer?
Gallows humor.
You want me to be more serious?
I prefer it.
Listen, I'm teaching you how to lead, how to survive.
What if I want to stop fighting?
Then you'll die.
She sees, this is so cool. Come on. Oh, okay. So, she never wanted to be a soldier. She never wanted to go into battle. She never wanted to take life. She wanted to protect life.
This is not what I wanted!
And here's where we get to a place of tough mentorship or tough parenting. We saw this beautiful side of Anakin in the hologram, and we saw the warmth he had with her when he was in the space between worlds. And yet he challenges her to fight to the death, right? And you get the sense that it's a real threat, but it's also instructive. He says this is a lesson. And now here they are back in the Clone Wars, and he is reminding her of when they started to lose their way and why he did it. People are dead, deal with it with gallows humor. It's not because I don't care, it's because it's hard. But you want me to be serious, I'll be serious. I'm trying to keep you alive. And I think a lot of times our mentors or our parents address things that way. I'm trying to keep you alive. I'm trying to prepare you for life. And they see it as they need to toughen us up, right? And they need to give us the skills, and they understand that it's harsh, and they understand that it can be cold and unfeeling, but it comes from a good place, and they're doing it out of love. I think it's very telling that when she watches Anakin march off to battle, that she then sees the laser flash, and then she sees the silhouette of Darth Vader for a split second, right? Demonstrating that it is in part his willingness to compromise his values that leads to the slippery slope. And she's going to call him on who he became and how much it hurt her and how she doesn't know who she is anymore because he was her foundation. This is Ahsoka 3 years later in the Clone Wars. She's older. She's a much more experienced warrior, as you can see, working the double lightsabers and kicking ass.
Nice work, Commander. We'll secure the perimeter. Come on, let's go!
This is the last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars animated series they're recreating here. Anakin was experiencing the events of Revenge of the Sith at this time, so he wasn't here.
I don't know this battle.
This was the siege of Mandalore. We had parted ways by now.
Looks intense.
It was.
You did well. You're a warrior now, as I trained you to be.
Is that all?
Is that all I am?
Within you will be everything I am. all the knowledge I possess, just as I inherited knowledge from my master and he from his. We're part of a legacy.
Okay, so he talks about Ahsoka, within you is all of the knowledge that I possess, I've passed on to you, that I inherited from my master, he inherited from his, we're part of a legacy. And I can't help but think of our families. The wisdom and the knowledge that we inherit, but also the trauma and the negative patterns and the ways of getting along that are beautiful and the ways of getting along that are hurtful. It's not black and white. Some of us have truly traumatic childhoods and upbringings, and it's mostly negative. Some of us have fairly happy and healthy and stable upbringings. Most people have a mixture of both.
But my part of that legacy is one of death and war.
But you're more than that. Because I'm more than that.
You're more than that because I'm more than that.
You are more, Anakin. But more powerful and dangerous than anyone realized.
Is that what this is about?
If I am everything you are,
You've learned nothing.
don't say that.
Back to the beginning.
She says, if I'm everything you are, essentially she's worried, as a lot of people have written into us, am I going to become like my parents? They were verbally abusive, they were neglectful, and maybe they also loved me and cared about me, but the way they went about it was messed up. Or maybe they didn't love me and care about me at all, right? She's worried. The reason she's disengaged from life is because Anakin led with passion, and his passion turned him to his worst nature. And she's worried that will happen with her.
I gave you a choice. Live or die.
When they started fighting, his eyes and his lightsaber were blue, and now they're both red. Showing her the darkest version of himself. Ooh.
You lack conviction.
You lack conviction.
Time to die.
You're not committed to living, so just time to check out. He's trying to jumpstart her back to life, and he does. Look what she does there. She knows who she is.
I choose to live.
His eyes are back to normal.
There's hope for you yet.
Okay, so here's my read on this as a parent. I want my kids to be better than I am. I want them to take all the good things from me, and then everything that was negative about me, I want them to not be affected by, disregard. But the truth is, every relationship, we rub off on each other, positive and negative, healthy and unhealthy. And he's trying to teach her that she has a choice in who she becomes. When she says, I choose to live, she's re-engaging with life fully as a peacekeeper, which is what she always wanted to be. She re-engages with her Padawan, and if you watch the series, she goes from kind of listless and lifeless, kind of a monotone Ahsoka, to, from this moment on, we get a lot more of her old personality back. If you feel like you've lost you, that's why do we call this mended light? Because the light is going out, right? You get it back by choosing it. You get it back by saying, I can love and forgive my mentors, my parents, my bosses, influential people in my life, especially when they, like Anakin, were doing the best they knew how, but also did some messed up stuff. I don't have to condone it. I don't have to say it's okay, but I can embrace the good person that's in there. And I can embrace, I'm going to take that and go the next step further and work through intergenerational trauma, work through these negative patterns, Just because I got good things from this person doesn't mean everything I got from them was good, and I can choose what to retain and what to let go of. This is how we heal from the people in our lives that we put our trust in. And sometimes they do great, and sometimes they do terrible. And most often, like Anakin, it's both. If you watched the Ahsoka series, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. How do you cope with parents or mentors or bosses that are a combination of helpful and hurtful? We love it when you share because we love it when you learn from one another. What questions do you have for me on the subject? Let me know in the comments below. Now, if you're loving this, I got more Star Wars content for you right here. Until next time, folks, keep shining. We need your light.